Good afternoon. Thank you
Hello.
very much for your time. I hope you and your family are well at this current situation. It will be a great opportunity for those people who are interested in Freemason to hear directly from our Grand Officer. I did a meeting with an assistant Grandmaster, Sir David Wootton, at the Baker's Lodge, and I personally had a wonderful time. And surely people who are watching this for their interest in Masonry will enjoy too. To begin with, could you introduce yourself, please?
Certainly. My name is David Staples. I am the Grand Secretary and the Chief Executive Officer of the United Grand Lodge of England.
Thank you. How can you describe about Freemason?
Well, in an increasingly diverse world, many people are looking for unity and purpose. Freemasonry is one of the oldest social and charitable organisations in the world, and it's open to those of all backgrounds. Its roots lie in the traditions of the medieval stonemasons who built our cathedrals and castles. And our aim really is empowering members to be the best that they can be, both for themselves and for the society around them. It does this by providing a structure to support and help them make positive contributions to their local communities, whether that be through fundraising or volunteer work. The Masonic principles of integrity, respect, friendship, and charity ring as true today as they ever have.
Why did you get into Freemasonry?
Well, by accident, I think would be the honest answer. I joined when I was at university, and a friend of mine who I lived with in my student house would go off to a meeting twice a term, and he would come back having obviously had a very, very good time. And after a few terms of this, I asked him where he was going, and he said, well, do you want to come and find out? And it went from there, really. So I've been in for about 22 years. I've met some fantastic people. I've had some great fun along the way, and I thoroughly enjoy being a Freemason.
In 2017, there was a documentary for 300th anniversary of Freemason, which you can also watch it on the Netflix. Do you think, is there any changes on general public's points of view after the documentary have been released?
I think we are now starting to make significant inroads into how the public perceive Freemasons. Beforehand, we didn't really say terribly much about who we are and what we did. And as a result, all sorts of nonsense sort of was made up to fill that void. But certainly the United Grand Lodge of England now is very keen on letting the public know who we are and what we do. Feel free to talk about it with anybody who might be interested. One of the key things that we're known for are our charitable works. We raised £48 million for charity in 2018, and our members did over 18.5 million hours of unpaid community work. And I like to think that our members are proud of that and are happy to talk about it.
For those people who are not familiar with Masonry, what could be a biggest misconception on Freemason?
Well, I think there's two really. The first is that it's male only. Freemasonry is not male only. The United Grand Lodge of England is a male only organisation, but in England we also have two women's Grand Lodges, and they go back well over a century. Quite a lot of the suffragettes at the turn of the 19th century were Freemasons, and you can see that the concepts that are pervasive throughout Freemasonry, such as equality, were weighing heavily on their mind as they were fighting for equal recognition for women's votes and for the sorts of things that were exercising the suffragettes at that time. So, and the second one I would imagine is that it's just a sort of club where people look after each other. People will be within the same lodge for often many, many years. They'll be there whilst other members of the lodge go through births and marriage and perhaps divorce and death, so the good times and the bad times. And there is a wonderful bond of friendship between members of a lodge, and you certainly do support each other, but not perhaps in a bad way, in a very, very good way.
What is your ultimate aim as a Grand Secretary?
Well, my role is twofold, really. Firstly, to run and modernise the administration of the organisation, and it's a big organisation. It's 200,000 members, 180,000 in the UK, and 20,000 or so abroad. And we have been really using systems that date back a century or so to manage our membership. And so one of my aims is to bring that up to date, to modernise it, to deliver for our members something that's a little bit more 21st century. And I think my second big portfolio is changing public perception on Freemasonry, increasing transparency, allowing members of the public to find out who we are and what it is we do. And if I can leave my role with the public thinking of Freemasonry as a good thing, I think that would have been a great thing to have achieved.
What was the most challengeable question you have been given by the press?
I think the one that caught me out most was somebody asking me to show them the handshake. And it's very difficult to, when you're being interviewed, to come up with. I think you're always wanting to please people and be polite, but of course you can't show somebody a handshake that you've promised not to show. Neither can you show somebody a handshake when you're there on your own, being interviewed in front of a camera. And so that was a tricky one. But I think it's important to get across the reason why we don't show the handshake or share it widely. Is it's a test of your own personal integrity. If you say that you will do something or say that you will not do something, it's important to demonstrate that you are a person of your word and what you say you follow through with. And so I think there was an eminently good answer there to give. It just eluded me at the time.
And lastly, do you have anything to say for the viewers?
Well, in English lodges, particularly in some of the provinces, there is a tradition of giving hearty good wishes. And hearty good wishes is when a visitor comes to your lodge and he will stand up at the end of the ceremony, at the end of the meeting, and he will say to the worshipful master of the lodge, I bring hearty good wishes from, and then list all of the lodges that he's a member of. And so I think what I would like to say to the viewers in Korea is I bring you hearty good wishes from the Brethren of the United Grand Lodge of England. And thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you.
Once again, thank you, and I appreciate for your valuable time. The good news is I've heard England now is planning to use an emergency vaccine for the COVID-19. So hopefully when it gets better, I look forward to have a meeting with you back in England. Thank you.
Look forward to it. Take care.